Hello class. Today we're going to begin talking about solving algebraic equations. But before we can actually get into learning how to solve these equations, we first need to cover some vocabulary, which I know everybody loves so much. So the first term that I would like to talk about is variables. Now, variables represent our unknowns. These are what we are trying to solve for in the equations. And these are usually represented by letters. Typically, the ones that we will be dealing with are X and Y. Sometimes we have Z. We'll get into that when we start talking about solving systems of equations that have more than one variable. But in this case, we're just going to use X, Y, and Z, or just X and Y, excuse me. So also, since variables just represent our unknowns, they could actually technically be anything you wanted them to. You could have squares, you could have circles, you could have stars, smiley faces, whatever floats your boat. There's my beautiful picture of a boat. Sailboat, actually. All right, next term I would like to talk about is expressions. Now, expressions connect numbers and variables. These also do not have equals signs in them. So a couple examples of expressions would be 2 plus 1, we could have 3x, we could have 2,063 plus x. Those are all examples of expressions. Now we will move on to equations. And equations are very similar to expressions, except for that equations set two expressions equal to each other. And they are set equal to each other by using the equal sign. It makes quite a bit of sense. So, and the way that I remember the difference between expressions and equations is that equations begin with the word begins with equa. And when I hear equa, it makes me think of the word equal, and then further, equal signs. So a couple examples of equations using the previous examples I had, for given the expression 2 plus 1, we could turn that into an equation by saying 2 plus 1 equals 3. So now we have turned that expression into an equation because we are saying that 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. Now using the next example, we could say that 3x equals 9. So what we're really saying is 3 times some number equals 9. For the next example, and the last one I'm going to go through for this video, was 2063 plus x equals, let's say, just 2. Now in this case, we could read this as 2063 plus some number equals 2. We're going to be using these terms quite frequently throughout the rest of pretty much mathematical career. Actually, these will be very common. So what I would like you to do for class is talk about or write down your own definition for these terms in a way that makes the most sense to you. Then when you get to class, just have a really quick conversation with a neighbor or friend and say how you described in your own words these variables, because sometimes this can help out another one of your friends or another classmate, because they might understand these terms by the example that you gave rather than the wording that I gave. So when you feel ready, you can go ahead and start the second video.